that's the real key. Most of the other points I have already addressed, so I'll just move on. So the big question in this right now that we are trying to question through this webinar is scriptless the solution, right? So there are, as I said, there are multiple frameworks that there are multiple approaches that you can use. Scriptless happens to be one of them. As such, we personally have seen a lot of success with scriptless. So that's the reason of getting into this webinar and sharing our thoughts and our thoughts and our experiences with scriptless. So we certainly believe, yes, it is really a solution that you should go for. Kind of design it well, go ahead and give it a shot. Because it brings in extremely powerful capabilities of design, of solution, and of usage. And basically, it gives all and everybody the leeway to start using your solution, and you can see a multifold effect of productivity, of the kind of gain that you really want to see in test automation with scriptless. Okay, and here is so here we start the journey of why scriptless automation. So when we are basically saying scriptless, I'm vouching for any solution which would basically not need coding, not need programming, right? Any approach, any solution which will allow you to go ahead and start automating tests. In this context, we are talking Selenium right now. So let's say anything that allows you to build Selenium tests without having to program or without having to do any kind of coding. And a simplistic definition, more than a definition, it is the characteristic of scriptless. That's how we at Qualisha look at it. So we basically say scriptless is an approach that makes automation extremely simple, and these are the kind of objectives that should make a solution extremely simple and completely scriptless, as the name itself terms it. It's completely code-free, right? To a large extent. So this is a solution that makes it extremely simple, very fast to automate, so high turnaround times in automating test cases and stuff like that, and extremely reliable as compared to any other solution. And a big plus with scriptless is, as you can note, anyone, including the manual testers, including the subject matter experts, the business guys, or most of them who are either developers, either programmers, non-programmers, everybody can embrace it and start being as productive, or if driven in the right manner, can be even more productive than the normal coding approaches, right? And it really makes the solution really maintainable and extensible. So with this, I'll start introducing how I see an abstract scriptless engine. What should be the composition of such an engine? So first thing that in my opinion that a scriptless engine should have a test composer, and I should have rather said a script-free test composer. So anything that would allow you to quickly compose and build test cases without writing using any of your scripting languages, the ones like the way Selenium supports, like Java and Perl and all of these kind of languages, right? So no programming, kind of a no programming test composer or a script-free test composer. Then you should have a reporting engine, and you can develop very sophisticated reporting engines in a very intuitive manner, which will exactly make you aware of what goes wrong where, and things like that, which is rather a bit difficult in the scripting world, right? So you'll have to go through your own stack traces, your own code, and unfortunately not everybody understands what's really happening in the code except for the developer. Not the case with a scriptless engine. Change manager, this is precisely what I'll stress upon and in later part of the webinar. This is a neglected piece of test automation everywhere, not only just Selenium. So in the test composer, the key ingredients of the test composer. Once you start abstracting a test case, abstracting any application that needs to be tested, there are three things that you need. Right? You need the object, you need the method, and you need the data. Right? So object. So this is very much what let's say a keyword-driven approach suggests. So you can build a keyword-driven approach using this methodology. You can build a data-driven approach using this methodology, or using all these three ingredients. Or you can build, let's say, a hybrid model, a page object model. So whatever basically that you use, right? All that you need for your tests to run at the core root level is an object, method, and a data. Right? With these, you can really create a solution to whatever levels that you really want your isolations and abstractions to really work. So with object, method, and data, that will help you to compose your tests. So something like, let's say, if you are using a keyword-driven model, more like an object is a text box, entering a text. Let's say enter text is a method. And then probably an XYZ text is probably your data, right? So you can build such test steps which are object, method, and data compositions all across, and create several test cases out of it. That's how a keyword driven solution looks at it. In case of a reporting engine, needs to be. I mean, this is quite a large topic in its own sense, but I'll try to cover it in as much time that we have today. So, in terms of the reporting engine, more importantly, needs to be insightful. So, irrespective of the amount of data that it is trying to share or the data that it is trying to generate, the moment you look at the report, you should be able to make sense out of the report, not only in terms of pass and fail, but let's say if a test case has failed, you should be able to immediately look at the test case and make out what exactly has failed, right? What is the reason behind? So it's not only the failure that it needs to report, but the root cause of the failure as much as possible is what the real insightfulness is all about. And get it as detailed as possible. So most of the scripting solutions or most frameworks anyways will give you a lot of data in terms of detailing snapshots. I guess most of us anyways do that. And then reports that are more self-explanatory in the terms of data, what data usage that you have used, clearly specify the data that you have used. So any test automation failure can directly be picked up by a developer. A look by the developer at the test case exactly helps him know what the issue is, what the kind of data that has been used. I mean, and basically make your reports portable enough so that they can be sent to developers, sent to stakeholders, anybody who can just take a quick look or attach it to your defect management solution or any of those kind of solution, and a quick look at the solution will give anybody a good idea of what the issue was and where it happened, what kind of data it had used, which a manual testing ability anyways lacks, but a reporting engine, if it has built in, it save a lot of time. Now, when we are talking of change, there are basically three changes, what you can say dimensions to change that we look at. One is generally the changes to objects, which most of the solutions, or I would say most of the frameworks, generally cater to. So be it commercial test automation tools which have been popular. So all of these solutions, right, they're good at, let's say I change an attribute, or I change an attribute in the object, or let's say an object has no object and a particular identifying object attribute has changed. You just go ahead, change it in one place, be it your page object model or any other framework that you develop, right? So kind of take care of it. So this is kind of granted. So I would not get into a lot of details of change in objects, because this is kind of taken care of most places. What's not taken care of in most places, and that way is it's a bit difficult to handle, is workflows and data dependencies. Now, when we talk of workflows, unfortunately, I've not seen a lot of objects being changed left, right, center, unless and until you have adopted a incorrect strategy for objects or something like that. Most of the times, developers, unless and until it's like very early days for automation, and I don't know how many applications, maybe nowadays a few of them do go ahead and start automation hand in hand with your development when you are using Agile or whatever form of operations on your project. But ideally, I have not seen a lot of developers going ahead and changing object attributes, or probably they are changing the UI, but they generally don't tend to change a lot of object attributes. The point being, if you have covered the object, it's great, but you probably covered only, I would say, at the max 15% of the mess, right? So the major part of the mess, or I would not say mess, the major part of the reason for the application to be tested is because it's going to change in workflows. It's going to change in business. It's going to change in terms of new test cases that it's going to bring in, new features that it's going to bring in, right? So that's more of a natural change that is going to handle, going to be addressed or going to be introduced to the application. And that's more of a requirement, and it's not an incorrect strategy kind of a thing. So the question is, how do we address that? How does that change help us understand how we can arrest a particular change? If a change comes in, how does our framework tell us that the change has happened? Right, and that change, how it can impact the rest of the components, the rest of the existing test cases in the framework. How many test cases are still affected, still not affected by the change? I mean, all of these kind of things, right? And you can take it to a different level of sophistication altogether. But that's the point, is that's the key thing to address, right? So if you have addressed that well, you've addressed a large portion of the, large portion of the problem, which is really the problem today with most frameworks. Same with data dependencies, but a lot of data dependency problems are also related to the way you design your tests, the way you have designed your test data, your strategy for test data, and then of course your framework can accommodate a lot of those kind of things and help you clearly identify if let's say a particular test data has changed, or if you are getting built-in data from production for certain reasons, if that has changed, what can be the impact and where it should be and how it should be. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time for you to arrest and understand the data dependencies and its impacts. Then, as I said earlier, an application can change from any dimensions, but something that will allow you to quickly arrest this particular change is what the change manager should ideally look for.